You know, there's something different about driving at night. Something unsettling. When the sun is up, the road feels safe, familiar, almost boring. But once the darkness takes over, everything changes. The highway, it feels longer, the shadows deeper, and suddenly, it hits you. You're completely alone. Just you, your car, and miles of emptiness. And it's in that emptiness that things happen. Things that make no sense. Things you can't explain. Things you wish you'd never seen. Driving at night has its own sounds. The wind against the windows. That strange whistle you never notice during the day. The tires humming over the pavement. And sometimes, that one noise, that one sudden sound, that you swear didn't come from your car. But the worst part, it's not what you see, it's what you feel. That gut feeling, when every hair on your body stands up, when something deep inside you knows, you're not alone. You glance at the rearview mirror, once, twice again, just to make sure. But the longer you drive, the more you realize, no other cars, no headlights behind you, nothing ahead. And then, your GPS starts rerouting you, sending you down roads that seem emptier than they should be. And your mind starts racing. Why does this road look different tonight? Did I really pass through here before? Why do I feel like something's wrong? Maybe you speed up. Maybe you lock your doors. Maybe you start checking the back seat, just in case, because deep down, you know, somewhere out there, in the darkness, something is watching. And tonight, you're about to hear 3 true stories. 3 nights, 3 people who learned the hard way that after a certain hour, some roads should never be traveled. But here's the thing, it's not just your imagination. You're not the only one who's felt that creeping sense that the night hides things. And you're not the only one who's wondered, what's out there, just beyond the edge, where the headlights stop? Because for some people, the road answered back. 3 different people, 3 different nights, 3 different roads. Each of them started out the same, just a simple drive, a routine trip, nothing unusual. Until it wasn't. Until the familiar became twisted. Until the road turned into something else. Something darker. Something they'd never forget. And maybe, just maybe, after you hear what happened to them, you'll think twice before getting behind the wheel when the sun goes down. Because the truth is, once night falls, the road isn't yours anymore. It belongs to something else. The first story happened to a man named David. A simple guy. Nothing special. Just someone trying to get home. It was almost 2 a.m. A rural highway somewhere in Pennsylvania. The kind of road that feels endless. No streetlights. No houses. Just miles of asphalt, cutting through nothing but trees and shadows. David had driven that road before, but that night, something felt off. The air was heavier, the silence thicker. Even the sound of his own tires felt wrong. As he followed the winding path of the road, he noticed something up ahead, a figure standing right at the edge of the curve. At first, he thought it was just someone walking, maybe a stranded driver, or someone who needed help. But as he got closer, he realized it was a woman, standing perfectly still, wearing a white dress, long, almost glowing against the dark. Her head was tilted slightly, and she was staring right at him. David's instincts kicked in. He eased off the gas, his grip tightening on the wheel. There was no car, no broken down vehicle, no reason for anyone to be standing there. And then, As the beams of his headlights fully lit her face, his stomach dropped, because had no face, no eyes, no mouth, no nose, just skin, smooth, empty, as if her face was never meant to be there. David slammed the gas, his heart racing, adrenaline surging through his veins. As he sped past, he stole one glance, one single look into the rearview mirror. But she was gone, completely gone. Not walking away, not fading, like she was never there. But he knew she was. David didn't stop driving until he hit the next town. Didn't slow down, didn't even breathe. But the story doesn't end there, because a few days later, still shaken, he mentioned the incident to a gas station clerk in the area. The guy froze, looked him dead in the eyes and said, "You saw her, didn't you?" Confused, David asked, "Saw who?" And the clerk told him that decades ago, a woman had died. Right on that curve, a brutal car accident. Late at night, she lost control, crashed into the guardrail, and was thrown from the vehicle. Locals say, on some nights, she's still there, standing, waiting for anyone, to see her. But they also say, if you ever see her face, or where her face should be, it means she saw you too. The second story happened to a man named Mark, a truck driver, the kind that spends more nights on the road than at home. Mark knew highways. He knew every shortcut, every rest stop, every diner between states. Or at least, he thought he did. That night, he was running a late delivery, a cross-state haul that should have been simple, easy, until the GPS rerouted him. Accident ahead. Rerouting, the robotic voice echoed in the cab. He frowned. He'd never seen this road before. A narrow, cracked two-lane highway, cutting through a stretch of woods that didn't even look familiar. No other cars, no cell signal, just him and the endless line of trees swallowing the road. At first, it was just eerie. But then, up ahead, something appeared through the fog. A house, an old two-story farmhouse, porch lights glowing, warm, yellow lights spilling from the windows. It looked out of place, perfectly clean, perfectly lit, sitting in the middle of absolute nowhere. And then he saw her, a little girl, standing on the front porch. She wasn't moving, except for one thing. She was waving, not frantic, not desperate, just calmly waving, right at him. Mark slowed down. His first instinct was, maybe someone needed help. Maybe his GPS glitched. Maybe he took a wrong turn. He pulled the truck onto the dirt shoulder, parked, left the engine running, and stepped out. But the second his boots hit the ground, the house was gone. Gone. No porch, no windows, no lights, no girl, nothing. Just open field, dead grass stretching as far as he could see. Mark stood there, frozen. His eyes scanned the tree line, the road, the empty space where that house was seconds ago. But it wasn't there. It was never there. Or was it? His hands shook as he grabbed his phone. No service. He opened the GPS again, zoomed out. That spot, that very field where he stood, it had a pin, an old marker, a name, faded, hard to read. But what he could read was the note below it. Site of the Anderson family farm, destroyed in 1972. Entire family murdered. No survivors. Locals say the house sometimes shows up, and the girl, she waves, but no one knows if it's a warning or an invitation. And just when you think you've heard it all, there's this story. A man named Chris, regular guy, nothing unusual, just heading home. It was just past midnight, a stretch of highway he'd driven 100 times before. Quiet, familiar, at least during the day. But that night, something was off. About 20 minutes into his drive, he noticed headlights, a car, behind him. Nothing strange at first. It happens, except this one felt different. The car wasn't too close, but it wasn't far either. It stayed perfectly locked in place. No matter how fast or how slow Chris went, the distance never changed. It didn't get closer. It didn't fall back. Just hovered right there. And the weirdest part, the headlights were dim, almost like fog lights. Low, faint, not bright enough to light the road, but just enough for him to know it was there. Chris switched lanes. The car switched lanes. He took an unexpected turn. The car turned too. He slowed down, thinking maybe, just maybe, it would pass. It didn't. It stayed. Same distance, same quiet. Creeping presence. At this point, his hands were shaking on the wheel. His mind raced. Is someone following me? Is this some kind of prank? Or worse? But the longer it went, the more unnatural it felt, because the car never got close, never tried to pass, never even blinked its headlights, just floated there, as if it wasn't really driving, as if it wasn't really there. Finally, Chris had enough. He pulled over, right onto the shoulder, flipped his hazard lights, took a deep breath, and waited, staring at the rearview mirror, ready to confront whoever or whatever this was. And then, nothing. No headlights, no engine sounds, no tires rolling over gravel. Just darkness, empty. The car was gone, as if it was never there. Chris stepped out, looked down the road, checked both directions. Pitch black. No cars, no lights, no movement. His chest tightened, his mouth dry, because he knew that car was real. It had to be. Or did it? When he finally made it home, still shaken, he couldn't shake the feeling. So he started digging, and what he found froze his blood. That exact stretch of highway, that exact mile marker, had been the site of multiple fatal accidents, specifically head-on collisions. Drivers reported seeing a car coming straight at them, headlights low, foggy, faint. They swerved, panicked, lost control. But every time, there was no car, no impact, no wreckage, just death. Locals whisper that sometimes, late at night, the car returns, not to pass, not to crash, just to follow. 3 stories, 3 roads, 3 nights, different places, different people. But one thing feels the same, because when you really think about it, when the night falls and the world goes quiet, the road changes. It's no longer just a road. It's no longer just asphalt, concrete, and paint. It becomes something else. A place where time doesn't work the same. Reality feels thinner. And something waits. Not always something you can see. Not always something you can touch. But you can feel it. Like fingerprints left behind by the past. Like echoes trapped between the trees, between the shadows, between what's real and what isn't. Because roads don't forget. They remember every crash, every scream, every secret whispered in the dark. The woman at the curve, the house that shouldn't be there, the car that never passed. They're not just stories. They're leftovers, fragments of something that never fully left. And maybe they're still there because no one was listening, or maybe because they don't know. They're gone. So the next time you find yourself driving, late, alone, with nothing but the sound of your own engine, take a look at your rear-view mirror. Check the side of the road and ask yourself, are you really driving alone? Or is something riding right behind you, waiting? And now, let me ask you something. Have you ever experienced something you couldn't explain while driving at night? A shadow, a figure on the side of the road, headlights that weren't really there, or maybe that heavy feeling, that gut instinct that you were being watched. If you have, tell your story in the comments below, because sometimes the scariest stories aren't the ones we hear, they're the ones we live. And who knows, maybe, just maybe, your story will be the next one we tell here. And now, let me ask you something. Have you ever experienced something you couldn't explain while driving at night? A shadow, a figure on the side of the road, headlights that weren't really there, or maybe that heavy feeling, that gut instinct that you were being watched. If you have, tell your story in the comments below, because sometimes the scariest stories aren't the ones we hear, they're the ones we live. And who knows, maybe, just maybe, your story will be the next one we tell here. If you enjoy stories like these, if you find yourself looking over your shoulder, checking your mirrors, turning the lights on, just in case, then you're exactly where you need to be. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, because every week, new stories are waiting for you here. Stories that will make you question what's real and what should have stayed in the dark. So, buckle up, stay alert, because whether you're driving home, walking alone, or lying awake in bed, the shadows are always closer than you think. I'll see you on the next drive, or who knows, maybe on the next road.